I just want it to be known that I was right. Most of us were probably right in the first place. It needs to be known that I was right about who Sadie Sink was playing in this freaking Spider-Man movie. Holy cow. Spoilers ahead, by the way. If you haven't seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, probably shouldn't watch this video because I will be talking about spoilers as I give my instant reaction. I just got home 5 minutes ago. It's 1:43 in the morning. I just got home 5 minutes ago from seeing this movie. Initial reactions coming up right after I introduce myself. My name is Strez. If this is your first time here, I'm just a dork on the internet that likes to react and respond to anything that has to do with fandom. So that's what we're doing tonight, specifically reacting to Spider-Man Brand New Day. And initial reactions, that was spectacular, unbelievable, the best Spider-Man movie we've ever been given. Maybe top 3 movie of the year, top 2 movie of the year. I'm feeling really good after walking out of that theater. And I think there's a couple reasons for why I feel the way that I do after watching this movie. First off, the color, just the way that this film was shot. It was so beautiful. It was by far one of the most vibrant and like true color to the real world mixed with a comic book movie that I feel like we've ever seen in pretty much any superhero movie ever, except for maybe Superman last year. I thought did a really good job of that as well. But this movie was beautiful. Some of the shots that we get in this film, I don't know how they did it. Like the shot, and this was in the trailer, but like the shot inside Spider-Man's mask where you can see Peter's eye as he's like flying down, like falling down. I don't know how they did that stuff. It looked so cool. You know, there were so many scenes that just felt the camera was doing cool things. There were some interesting tricks here and there. There was just a lot about this film that just looked good. Like it was pleasing to the eye. I can't point out a specific moment in this film that I don't think looked good, that like didn't look good. I'm sure one will come up eventually. And if it is, it's probably just because of how the set is supposed to look. I don't know. I was blown away just by the way that it looked. I thought this film looked so good. The other thing that I really loved was the interactions that we did get between Peter Parker and MJ, and sprinkle in some Ned, obviously, because that's the homie. Right. But, you know, in this kind of movie, after what we got in the last movie that we watched, they could have spammed Zendaya and Tom on the screen as much as possible. They really could have, but they decided not to do that, which I think is the right decision, like truly the right choice. But they used those moments sparingly in this movie, and they did it the right way by doing that. I feel like it took an hour into the film before we even got our first look at like modern day MJ, not on a phone screen. You know, the in-person moment when he goes to the house party. I thought they did a good job of like kind of holding on to that until we actually get those moments. And then we get that first moment and it's actually not real. Like that was a cool trick. You know, obviously it's part of the script, it's part of the story, but at the same time, they're doing it to us too as a fan. Like watching the movie, we're being tricked just like Peter Parker is being tricked in the film. And I thought they did a really good job of that. I thought that was really well done. I think Zendaya gave a really great performance in this movie. I want to point out the adultness, the grown-upness of the wardrobes of Peter, of MJ, and of Ned. Like it was, they went through, you know, I didn't realize that they were going to do this, but they went through the 4 years of college. And it was like after college, they're going into like their young adulthood, and they like aged up their wardrobe. Like their outfits looked like actual outfits that people who are 23, 24 years old would be wearing, young professionals that are trying to get hired, trying to start their career. It looked like they gave Zendaya adult clothing. It looked like they gave Ned adult clothing. You know, it looked like they gave Peter adult clothing because they're not in high school anymore. And so I think they did a really good job of that. That's just like a little minor detail. And I think that's what makes this movie so good, is just like all of those minor details are really paid attention to. Like they're all They just took care of everything. They paid such close attention to everything and handled everything with care in this movie. Even the big payoff, you know, even the cameos that we weren't expecting in the first place. Like getting the Black Widow. I can't remember, what is her name? Yelena? Yes. Getting her, I was totally not expecting that. And I will never be upset about Florence Pugh being on my screen. Crazy that we're getting Florence Pugh and Zendaya in multiple movies this year. That's pretty cool. Not something that I was expecting to happen this year, but I thought they did a good job with that. Like they took care of that cameo and they took care of kind of the comedic relief from Yelena being on the screen with her talking about the new Avengers and small potatoes and all this kind of stuff. I thought they did a really good job with that. And man, like I said, they just took care of everything. And there's two things that I really want to talk about for the most part in this reaction review. I don't even know what you want to call this. I'll give my total score out of 10 at the end of this video, by the way. Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man we've ever gotten. I feel like that argument has been put to bed. That debate has ended with this movie. I have felt like Tom Holland was the best Spider-Man we've ever had since Spider-Man Homecoming. I was like, he moves different. He looks different. He feels the part. But in this movie specifically tonight, he became Spider-Man to me. It almost felt like he was putting on even more of a New York accent. I just watched Far From Home on Tuesday, and I feel like I didn't recognize the thick New York accent at that time. So I feel like he put on a little bit more of that in this movie, and it was so Spider-Man. The tall buildings actually being in the downtown, the Manhattan piece of New York City. It was the most Spider-Man I feel like we've ever gotten. And there have been some other Spider-Man movies that we've gotten that have felt that way. I felt that way about The Amazing Spider-Man. I felt that way about Spider-Man 2, but this one it clears all of them. Like Tom Holland is forever Spider-Man. I mean, he's been doing this role since, when did Captain America Civil War come out? 2016, I think. It's a whole decade, and he has been in 8 movies. Dude, there is no question, there is no conversation, there is no debate. Tom Holland is Spider-Man, period. His performance in this movie was worthy of carrying the mantle of Spider-Man. I think if Stan Lee had the opportunity to sit down and see this Spider-Man performance of his most beloved character, I think Tom Holland really would have made Stan Lee very proud. I really think that Tom Holland's performance in Spider-Man Brand New Day would make Stan Lee very, very proud of the character that he created, the story that he created, and the world that he built around the character of Spider-Man. That was how good I thought Tom Holland's performance was. The other piece obviously needs to be addressed. The elephant in the room, the redheaded elephant in the room. Sadie Sink is spectacular. I knew that she was going to be great. I loved her in Stranger Things. I think she's by far the best actor on that television show. She acts circles around literally every single person in Stranger Things. Not a single actor in that show. Maybe what's his face that plays Hopper, whatever, in the New Avengers. Sadie Sink outacted, and in this movie, we are in for a very long and illustrious career for Sadie Sink. Full stop. That is one of my takes that I think I will not be wrong about, and I am actually very happy to share. And the fact that she is so young in her career and is getting to play Jean Grey is such a nice treat for comic book fans and X-Men fans and Marvel fans and superhero film fans. That is by far, without a doubt, giving the character of Jean Grey to someone like Sadie Sink is the best decision that they could have made for the character of Jean Grey. Obviously, they've made some decisions in the past, did not quite go as planned. I think that the X-Men universe kind of got a little bit lost in the sauce over the years because they just didn't really know what to do with their aging cast, all that kind of stuff. But now that we are in the MCU, we officially have the MCU Jean Grey, and Sadie Sink knocks it out of the ballpark, dude. Holy cow. The way that she interacted with the environment around her, the way that she was able to be this menacing force away from camera, but also on I don't know how to describe it, but it was spectacular. It was truly spectacular. She blew me away. I knew she would be great, but she genuinely blew me away as Jean Grey. And I was so excited to see when her name popped up and it confirmed Jean Grey in the film. I literally punched the air because I was so excited. Whenever people ask me, Strez, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you have? I automatically say Jean Grey. That's what I want. Everything that Jean Grey is capable of doing because of her telekinetic powers, that's what I want. That is my dream superpower. And it's, there was a point where I was wondering, they're kind of limiting her a lot in this movie. And then the third act hits and I'm like, whoa, never mind. Jean Grey has been unlocked. Full stop. Jean Grey is here. Jean Grey is like, it was awesome. And I mentioned the third act there, by the way. That third act might be the best third act I've seen in years of a film. Right. I think the first two acts I thought were really good, but I think that this movie, the third act, just really blew it out of the water. Like, it blew the doors off the first two acts, just with the realization of Jean Grey, the interaction between Peter and MJ, the interaction of Peter and Jean Grey in person, and then also in his mind, and then him doing the sacrifice at the very end, and then the whole ending with the crowd at the hospital and all. Like, that third act was so good in this film. Like, that third act alone is going to be what makes this movie such a high score for me. It just was so good. It was so good. And I am very eager to see what is next for Sadie Sink's Jean Grey in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very eager to see what is next for her. How they're going to handle the X-Men, how they're going to handle mutants in this universe, what they're like, what's the plan? I am so curious to see what's going on here. Obviously, we'll get a better understanding when Doomsday comes out. I'm assuming that she probably will be in that, since we're getting, like, there are other X-Men in this film. I would assume that Jean Grey, Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, is going to be in there. And I think they'll do her justice. I think they really will. I think they're going to do a really good job with her story. They're going to handle her well. I have my friend Dakota is cautiously optimistic, I think, but they're concerned because Marvel doesn't handle female characters very well, like female star characters very well. And I think that's a fair point. And I think that they have a chance to right the ship with an actor the level of Sadie Sink in this role, in this prolific, iconic role that is Jean Grey. So that's basically all of my reaction. I guess you're probably just waiting on my score out of 10. So I got to think about this one. I was thinking about it on my way home, thinking about how I've felt about this movie, how I felt about some other movies that I've watched this year. I gave The Odyssey a 9.4 out of 10. I get really granular, by the way. And I think that this movie is right up there. Like, for me, on my scale, like, I think The Odyssey is probably a better film just altogether, but I think I enjoyed Spider-Man Brand New Day more. So I'm going to give this one, this is funny. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to give this one a 9.41 out of 10, putting it just a smidge past The Odyssey, because I liked this movie more than The Odyssey, but I don't know that this movie is better than The Odyssey, if that makes sense. Let me know if it does or doesn't in the comment section below. Let me know all of your thoughts about Spider-Man Brand New Day in the comment section below. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, go ahead and do that on your way out. Drop a like, and I will do my best to get more content out because I know you guys are just craving it. Just kidding. No one cares. I will see you guys in the next one. Enjoy your dinner.